Tumblers Galaxy 101, Girls Night Out. So when it comes to the epoxy, there's two-part epoxy. And combining these in equal parts, it will harden into plastic. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to just raise your hand or shout out my name, and then I'll come and help you guys, okay? So that's what's good about this epoxy, that it's really quick drying. So right now, because we're in a well-ventilated room and it's really big, this has very low fumes, very low viscosity. So you won't necessarily be smelling it as much as other epoxy resins if you've used epoxy before. So this is what's great about this epoxy that I love, that it doesn't smell. If you guys brought a mask, then you guys are more than welcome to put it on. So for one of them, part A, you're gonna fill it up to 20. And then with the other little cup, 20 of part B. And it's okay if at the end we have extra, that's okay, that's totally fine. And then you will see that part A is a little bit thicker. If you like it, they are local. It's called the Epoxy Store. And we are, this class is sponsored by them. So this is their company. This is a new tumbler epoxy that they just created recently, and they launched. And out of all the epoxies that I've used, it's my favorite. Go ahead and mix it into the big cup. Little trick is the thicker one first. So make sure that I grab all of the epoxy off of the cup. You are going to stir it up slowly. Make sure you take your time, because if you take your time, you will get less bubbles. Once you see that it's starting to get clear, that's how you know that the epoxy is mixed together. So these are already prepped. So the way that I prep them is you need to sand them. That is so the epoxy will adhere. And then I painted it with spray paint. It's a Galaxy cup. We are doing a black base. They're stainless steel and they're double insulated. So when they're ready to go, so you can use hot or cold. This is gonna be like a glitter base. This is called epoxy additive. So, there's the glitters they're a little bit chunkier. We're not gonna use that. So this is very, very fine. A little bit goes a long way. And this is just to give it a little bit of a base before we add the color. Okay, so everybody got theirs mixed. So a little bit at a time is best until you reach the whole thing. So if you guys wanna watch me first, and then after, you guys can start doing it on your own, okay? So I always like to start at the very top, and then just, work, yes, you use your hands. So, and then you just work your way down. And then you'll see, right now, it's gonna get messier with the alcohol inks. So it does not need to be perfect, just as long as the cup is all covered, and you'll be able to see the sparkle. So you just add a little bit at a time, and then I like to work from the top to the bottom. You can either just put some at the rim and then just slide it down to the bottom, or you can get some from your finger and then just smooth it at the bottom. Make sure that it's just a thin coat. Just make sure that you get all the glitter dispersed to the cup. Yes, look for spots that doesn't have glitter or the epoxy, that you see that you can still see the base, the black base, and then just add a little bit. You guys can just put your finger on the edge of the cup, making sure that there's epoxy on the top of the rim, because that's going to create a seal. So we're done with the first step. So now we're gonna be adding the alcohol inks. So go ahead and change gloves. So take one off, grab that glove that you took off with the one that you have on, and then just flip it and then put it inside out, and I'll be coming around with the trash can. Just in case you guys got some epoxy on your hands, just if you guys want to take one and then pass it down. And then once your hands are fully dry, you guys can go ahead and put the new gloves on. All of these are metallics. try to use the colors first. So I am going to choose Señorita Magenta, Baja Blue, Rainforest Green, and Passion Purple. So just so you guys can see, for this one what I did is I grouped the colors together. So for example, I did pinks and purples on one side, on one end. Then I did blue and greens together. So then that way it kind of gives it more of like a galaxy effect. And then once I add, I will go ahead and have you guys come and choose the colors that you guys want, okay? So I am gonna start with blue. And all I'm doing is just dropping it. And you're not gonna see them very much. Right here, I just did 1, 2, 3, 4 drops on that end. And you will see that the colors are going to spread. That don't be alarmed, and it is gonna look ugly at first, don't be alarmed. This is just the first step. Then we're gonna add some purple. So I'm adding it with the pinks. Now you guys can do it however you would like. If you guys would just like to disperse all the colors, you're more than welcome to. This is just preference. I'm adding green to where the purple is. I'm doing about 4 to 5 drops at a time. And then I do see a lot of the black glitter. So what I'm gonna do is just keep adding. And then I will check to see if there's anything else that's not coated. Make sure it's not too much. You would still wanna see kind of some of the black with the glitter. So make sure that you don't overpower it. Okay, so for the next one, we are gonna be mixing the white. So with the leftover resin that you have, with the pearl alcohol inks, we're gonna do about maybe 3 drops into that, and then we're gonna mix it. We're gonna do this effect with to make it to where it looks kind of like cloudy. So we have pearl, we have silver, I believe. We have copper. I haven't tried copper or gold tones. We also have white, flat white. So for this one, I use just a flat white. So you want the consistency to be a little bit thick. If you lift it and it strings down, that's perfect. I always start from the top and I work my way down diagonal. If it's really like elasticy, that's fine. And you're just gonna do little by little lines. I like to go the direction that the cup is moving, so that way it will be easier. And then you're gonna take your time and then just keep adding. Try not to add too much. And then what I'm gonna keep doing is I'm gonna keep adding white to those lines. Just trust the process. With any cup that you guys make or anything, just trust the process. At first it does not look pretty. So we're gonna come one by one, put some heat to it, and then you will see it come alive. Okay. They're gonna be coming around and adding heat to it. So if you see here, the epoxy is gonna get a little bit thin, and then all the colors are gonna be mixing. So what you guys can do is, once there's heat on it and you see that there's movement, if you see that you want like the white to kind of move a certain direction, just very lightly, just tap, 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 so you can make your little waves. Okay. Now just keep in mind that this is gonna be moving all throughout the night until it cures. So if you see it one way right now, tomorrow it might look different, and that's okay. You see how it's starting to move?
Oh, okay, I see it.
Make sure not to add it for too long. It heats up the epoxy and it makes it move. So we'll let the colors move around. And then if you guys tell me you guys want to add more color for any of them, if you guys see that the colors are dispersing and you guys want to make it more vibrant or add more blues or pinks, you guys can. Just do not add too much. So tomorrow we're gonna add another layer of epoxy. So if you guys see gaps that are not like little, like where the epoxy spreads a little bit, you're fine. But today it doesn't have to be perfect. You're fine. So tomorrow all you need to do is just take it off of the backing and then just slap it onto the cup. Okay? So I'll make it as easy as possible. We are going to leave it for it to cure. We're going to do that tomorrow again. And then after Tuesday, it will be ready for pickup. You guys can come anytime. It depends on the store hours. Welcome back to Part 2. You will find that you'll have what you chose, either stars, a name, or a sun, moon. Take it off of the vinyl, you transfer them onto the cup. And it comes right off. Fully cured, so you can go ahead and touch it, nothing's gonna happen. It literally peels right off, and then you can just reuse it. And then these are yours, so you guys can take these home. And then also, if you guys would like to buy extra, we do have extra available. They are local, so you are more than welcome to either stop here, they are gonna have some soon, or you can go to their store. It's located in Lake Elsinore, and they have different sizes. They also have different epoxies for other stuff that you would like to do, like countertops, flooring, coasters, jewelry. They have a lot more resin available. And then I'm going to be working on mine and showing you on what to do for the final coat. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put our gloves on, safety first, our goggles, make sure you have your apron on. So we are gonna do 15 part A and 15 part B. And then we are going to transfer it onto the bigger cups, so it will be easier to mix. Remember part A, the thicker one, it's gonna be easier to pour the thinner one onto the thicker one. So always start with the thicker one. 15, 15 is 30. So this time we're doing 30. So last time we did a little bit less, and it's because we were working with the heat, because it thins it. So now that we're not working so much with the heat, this is gonna give it an even coat all along the cup. Okay, so remember when you're mixing it, take your time with it, especially with this one, because this is the last coat. Now, I know they're really sparkly already, but I can add a little bit more. You can't have too much sparkle. And that's what's good about this one, that because it's so fine. Yes, so I know you're gonna see lots of bubbles, so go ahead and just set it down. You're gonna wait a few minutes and you'll see the bubbles rise up to the top. Okay, so before we continue, we are gonna try to work fast with it so it doesn't cure. I'm gonna go ahead and take away my stick, and then all I'm gonna do is just pour a little bit of it at a time, kind of like what we did yesterday. I always start from the top, pour a little bit, and then just work it all the way down. And then you're just gonna continue doing that until the whole cup is covered. So it's just like last time. Make sure that everything is completely covered. I like to just keep my finger on top to make sure that it's not going to be too thick, because what it tends to do, a lot of the epoxy, it likes to separate. So if you just put your finger on there, make sure that it has an even coat and it's not too much, it's not going to separate. And then what I like to do at the bottom, just like yesterday, either you can add some epoxy to the edge and then bring it down to the bottom piece, or just grab some with your finger and then just go ahead and smooth the bottom out. Sometimes you'll see what's called fisheye. Fisheye, what it is that the epoxy starts separating and you'll see like little indents. That shows that either the number one thing is that not enough epoxy was used on that area. I love the concentration. And like I said, if tomorrow I see that some are not completely smooth, because these typically they do need like a third coat sometimes, especially with the decal, I will go ahead and add I won't add any more glitter. I will just go ahead and do like a final coat. The chunkier the glitter, the more layers you need to add. So the bubbles will rise. Not too much should rise, but if they do, all you do is just torch it for a few seconds and the bubbles will minimize. And if you see them coming back, you just keep torching it and it's just literally just seconds. Because if you leave it on the epoxy, it will burn the epoxy and that's something that you guys wouldn't want. Okay, so this is pretty much what I do throughout the whole cup. You do not want to keep it in one space. And then I just do this until it turns all the way. And then it will minimize the bubbles. You might not see them as much on this because of the glitter that it has and because it's dark. But on a lighter one, you will be able to see them. Or on your decal too. You'll see that on your decal, you'll be able to see the bubbles. A lot of what I like to do too is to make sure that everything is coated. I like to get eye level and you just see it turn. Make sure that everything is level or it's coated and you don't see any of the fish eyes. Let's say you're at home and you see a fisheye, all you need to do is just add a little bit of the epoxy on there and then you just put the torch on or some kind of heat and it will disperse. And then that way the fisheye will be gone once everything is cured. So what I'll do is before I go home, I will torch it just to make sure that all the bubbles are gone. And if I need to add another final coat, I will add another final coat tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks again, everybody.